Today we're going to learn how to use the magnetic lasso and the polygonal lasso in Photoshop to make selections. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is make sure you download these correctly in Google Classroom. So you're going to make sure you click that download icon. Alternatively, if you go into Google and do an image search, you can simply right click and then select save image as to save the images to your hard drive. So when we're in Photoshop, right now you'll notice that we've got a few different images, and right now they are consolidated in all tabs. What we're going to do, what I recommend you do, is click on Window, Arrange, and right now we've got Consolidate all to tabs. If you click, for example, 3 up stacked, it's going to look a little bit like that. I recommend instead that you select Float All in Windows. That's going to make it just a little bit easier to sort of keep track of what is where. Although I encourage you, of course, to experiment to see what works best for you. All right, so now what we know is we've got the Move tool. We've got the elliptical marquee. Next one down is this tool right here, and if we right click it, we see we've got the lasso tool, the polygonal lasso, and the magnetic. If we click on the first one, what we can do is we can make a selection just by sort of left clicking, dragging the mouse, sort of eyeballing the selection. If we press Command C, Command V, here we've got Peter Griffin, but that selection is not amazing, right? So how can we improve this? Instead of this first selection, instead of this lasso tool, which I doubt we'll ever use in this class, maybe very once in a blue. What I recommend you use, however, is this magnetic lasso. The magnetic lasso is really awesome because it clings to high contrast objects. So what I know is if I click along the edge of Peter and I'm going like this, I can see that it's sticking to his edge. I also noticed that a few times these little bounding boxes sort of got lost out the way. To undo this selection, what we can do is simply press delete on the keyboard and it'll go back. And great. So I'm not clicking anything right now. I'm simply dragging along the edge of Peter. And you guys are going to do a more precise selection, but this looks good. What we can do is if we get to a corner like this, if we want to put down what's called a bounding box, we can left click. All right, then I'm releasing on the mouse and I'm simply dragging the mouse along the edge of Peter Griffin. And the reason this is working, again, so well is because there's a lot of contrast, right? The background is white, so the selection tool knows exactly where to lay down the selection. All right, we've arrived where we started. I'm going to click again, and we see these little ants running along the edge. We're going to press Command C, and now I'm going to go back to our neighborhood. I'll actually maximize the window. I'm going to press Command V, and great. So now we've got Peter Griffin crossing the street. Lovely. What I also know is that while the magnetic selection tool is great, right, and so we're going to use it right here, it works. That's not the only selection tool we have at our disposal, because what I know is that when we zoom in, I can see that it's sort of stuck to this edge right here. The white on white was a little bit problematic, and it didn't realize that it should cut across at this angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Command D. I'm going to change the magnetic lasso to the polygonal lasso, and the polygonal lasso is cool because it makes selections that are simply straight lines. So what I'm doing is I'm clicking to lock down where I want the selection to turn, and you'll notice right here, for example, it's going to extend as far as I bring the mouse, and now we've got these nice clean selections. Great, I'm going to press Command C, and I'll return here, Command V, and great, now we've got this diamond. Now let's say, for example, we want this diamond maybe levitating between the garbage truck and this pole. How can we create the illusion that there's maybe like a little three-dimension aspect to this? What we can do is we can zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to use the polygonal lasso again, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here. Okay, so I've got this selection. I'm going to open up the layers palette, and I know that we're on the diamond layer, and because we're on the diamond layer, if we now press delete, it deletes the just that aspect of the diamond. I'm now going to move this diamond layer around, and you can see that if we want to shift it over here, that's going to be problematic because that doesn't look realistic here. However, it does. Now, one final point. Let's say you're using the magnetic lasso. I'll right click to bring it up again, and we're going to go along the edge of Garfield, right? And we know that if you press delete, it'll go back one bounding box, right? But what happens if it goes like this? It goes crazy and you need to start all over. Simply press escape and it all disappears and you're back to square one so you can continue your amazing selection. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm super excited about seeing your execution of the polygonal and magnetic lasso.